Good morning, Platinum Top 50 San Antonio. Happy Friday, and what a beautiful day it is after a week of some storms. Thank you so much for your interest in our program today about pricing and building custom homes. Super excited to bring up a panel of experts later on to help us kind of understand more about what goes into the pricing, what we need to know when it comes to selling. I love the idea that we are able to learn from one another. And at the end of the day, we all work together too. So what a great thing to come together and be able to do that in this kind of a space. If it looks different to you than it has for the last 8 weeks, that's because for the first time, I am not at the office hosting a webinar. I am actually in Austin, enjoying the Four Seasons up here. It is more than a hotel to me. It is where I got engaged. It's where I was married. It's where I spent my first anniversary and 3 baby moons following. It's where I enjoyed highs and lows of Texas football games. And in my commitment and your commitment to continuing to support our favorite businesses and support local, Austin has also been home to Platinum Top 50 for 10 years. And it's my first time up here since the pandemic. So it feels great to be in Austin, and it feels even better to be able to be working with my San Antonio family remotely from Austin this morning. So just a reminder to everyone too, at your level of comfort, when you're ready, I encourage you to just continuing to be mindful of supporting your favorite businesses, your local businesses. And look, rates are really good here, and I think we might be the only people in the hotel, so that's kind of cool too. So there's some unusual advantages to these situations as well. So welcome. Thank you for being with us. I'm so excited to get ready for today's program. As you know, Platinum Top 50, our programming is underwritten through our valued strategic partners, and it's really great businesses that we've partnered with for intention because they're committed to serving you and your clients at a really high level. And so today's program is no different, and it's being brought to you by Security Service Title Company. And representing them today is Matt Profit. He is the Vice President of Title Operations. I would love to ask Matt to come on and join me and say a few words on behalf of Security Service Title Company. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. I'm going to get my kids and come join you at the Four Seasons. It seems like a nice place to be.
Like, there's no one here. We sat on the veranda and played cards last night. It was very eerie. It felt a little apocalyptic, but at the same time, I recognize it is what it is. And this too shall pass, but it was an interesting time, and there's some advantages. So I say bring them.
Well, enjoy your beautiful children, and they are beauty. So thanks, and we are honored to be participating, and thank you for your continued support to agents. I think this program in particular has got our valued realtors are going to find great value in this esteemed panel of builders that we have, and it's kind of a unique program. And I think there's going to be a lot of great information learned here at Security Service Title. Just want to talk a little bit about what we're doing. We're an independent agent, not owned by an underwriter or a realtor. And what that means to you is that we have great partnerships with 5 of the leading underwriters that give you flexibility when it comes to us underwriting and closing your loans. But what I really want to highlight is our commitment to teamwork. And that's we put the client first is really our approach to title. And from our outstanding front desk and admins all the way up to me, we're always here. You can talk to any of us on a particular deal because we truly work as a team. And what that means to you is your clients get the service they deserve, that you assist them through what is the most significant financial event of their life. As we're all are dealing with COVID, we're continuing to provide safe closing environments for our clients, including enhanced measures here in our office, offering curbside and at-home closings, remote online notary closings as well. Our commitment to serving the community continues, and we encourage you to visit our website, reach out to one of our business development folks, get to know us a little bit better, and see how we can partner with you to help you and your clients succeed. And with that, if you can please, we've got a great video we'd like to share.
Built on integrity and dedication to service, Security Service Title Company is committed to constructing sound relationships with real estate professionals and their valued clients. Our foundation and backing includes extensive knowledge and commitment to the San Antonio area and beyond. Our team delivers an exceptional residential and commercial title experience, including dynamic relationships with the nation's leading underwriters. We navigate the buying and selling experience, allowing real estate professionals to focus on growing their client base. Our full-service residential and commercial team is capable of handling transactions of any size with a satisfaction rate of 97%. Security Service Title Company is highly recommended by real estate professionals and their clients. We want to partner with you. Security Service Title Company is ready to serve you. Find out more at sstc.org.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Matt, and thank you to Security Service Title Company. I am ready to get into the program with our panelists, but a little bit of housekeeping for everyone so we can give you the best online experience. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat bubble. If you haven't opened that up, do that. I sent you a message earlier that said, "Good morning, friends. Who's ready for a great program?" So you should be able to see that. And just a note that this is a way that you can communicate with myself and the panelists throughout the program. So a way for us to have conversation even though we're not able to have it verbally. So keep that chat bubble open. That's a great way. Also Q&A down there. If you have questions for the builders or myself, use that Q&A to send it to me and I'll make sure that I feed your question at the appropriate time to the right person. So that's a great feature there. And last but not least, scroll over to the top right of your screen if you're on a computer and you can change the view. So either gallery view, which looks kind of like the Brady Bunch, or speaker view, which would just highlight the speaker. I like gallery, especially in a panel format, so you can see all the panelists as we're going through this. So a little bit of housekeeping as far as that's concerned. All right, well, I am going to ask my panelists to join me and introduce themselves. It looks like we lost Trey, but that's okay. We can certainly get him back throughout the program. So we'll see him when he joins us. He must have lost the connection there. But Alan, Mike, if you will join me on screen, I would love to ask you to introduce yourself. So let's see, there you are. Alan, good morning, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. So Alan, will you introduce yourself? And Mike, will you come on screen? And when Alan's done, will you do the same, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan Gresham. Been building homes for quite a few years. I started my career in 1982 in Houston. I probably know most of you folks from my time with Highland Homes. I was division president at Highland for 16 years. I started Highland in San Antonio in 1994. After I left Highland, I started Gresham Homes in 2012. Being with Highland, I got an interesting outlook on what I call an upscale production building versus what I'm doing today. So I like to think I can mix a little of both cultures together. I am a very small builder, very hands-on in the Bernie area and Miralomas specifically. Your clients would be dealing directly with me. By starting Gresham Homes, it allows me to go and do what I enjoy, which is actually building the homes. No more sales meetings, division meetings. So I relish the idea of meeting your clients and building in beautiful Miralomas. So thank you for attending.
Awesome. Yeah, it certainly is a different experience going from one side of the building to custom building, and we're glad to have your expertise to share with us. So Trey, you're back. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Will you introduce yourself to the audience while we work to get Mike up now?
Yeah, we'll do. We've been having intermittent GBTC issues the last few days, and it just went out. Fortunately, we're back up. But yeah, my name is Trey Garner with Garner Custom Homes. This past fall, we've celebrated our 21st year in business. been a custom builder from day one. Over that time frame, we built several hundred custom homes, and been able to kind of hone our process to, mitigate client expectations and surprises, minimize surprises. We office out of our model home in Cordillera Ranch. Cordillera Ranch is our primary market, where we have about 75% of our current builds ongoing currently. The remainder of our work is generally in about a 30-mile radius of Bernie. Roughly 1/3 of our builds are referred to as from realtors. So we thank you for that. And I'm happy to be here today.
Awesome. Well, no doubt that the Wi-Fi with the storms that came through have done a number on all of the networks in San Antonio. So you're not alone in that. And we certainly understand. So Mike, it's great to see you. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Good morning. I'm Mike Holloway Custom Homes. I've been in the industry 43 years, quite a while. The home building company that we work under presently has been in operation since 1992, so 28 years. I'm past president of the San Antonio Home Builders Association. I hold graduate master builders and a certified green professional from NHB. And we build mostly San Antonio, Bernie, close hill country area. We do also build all as far as Horseshoe Bay. Price points for us are somewhere from about 600 up. And we're very diverse as far as architecture. We do all different styles of homes.
I love it. So I didn't want to do the math on my own, but I think it's great collectively, right? How much experience? So Alan, how much experience do you have?
38 years.
Okay, we're going to round up to 40. What about Trey?
26.
All right, so we're up to 45. Mike?
43.
You guys are going to help me do my math. I mean, well over 75 years of collective experience in the building, home building, custom home building. So what a wealth of knowledge that you are for us and our audience and all those listening today. So excited to learn from you guys. All right, let's dive in. The title of our program today is Pricing and Building Custom Homes. And that usually starts with the land, right? That is the first step in the process. So Alan, I would love to ask you, what can you tell me about kind of raw land and basic topography that plays into the cost of building a custom home?
Well, first, I think everyone needs to be careful in that the basic topography of the lot seems simple, but it can be so deceiving. We're in the hill country, so you're driving up a road that's sloped up and everything around you is sloped, and you look at a lot and go, wow, that's pretty flat. Well, when it actually isn't very flat at all, it's 5 foot out of level. So, flat land in the hill country is pretty rare. So, when you're looking at the lot and you're looking at the topo, we need to keep that in mind. Ask yourself the questions with your clients. When I talk to people, I always try to counsel them on how I view the resale potential. So, if you have a young couple and they don't care about stairs going up to the front door or going from the garage into the house, that's great. But, if they resell it and they're going to try to resell it to an elderly client or whatever, they may not want that. So when you're looking at the topography, you need to ask yourself that question: where are the stairs going to go, and how is that going to impact my livability and my sellability? What is the orientation? Do they want north, south, east, west? And as they orient the house, how is that going to affect the slab costs? Because, we'll get to that in a bit, but the slab is one of the greatest impacts on the cost of the home. Another thing to think about is views. So you come up on a lot, it's great, and on the back of the lot, there's great views. Well, in order to capture those views, you need to move the house 50 foot back, further back. The costs that are associated with that, the additional driveway. As you move it back closer to the cliff, the slab goes up. You've got underground utilities. Those things are incredibly expensive. So the farther you move it back, the more that costs, the landscaping, et cetera. Then there's also, I love this lot, but there's some fairly significant drainage issues. How are we going to deal with those? So to put your house here, it's going to affect the overall price by X. So, you know, as a builder, I try to counsel people on all of that. And they need to click all the boxes, or if something isn't clicked, we need to discuss up front what I'm going to have to do in order to click all of those boxes for the people.
Okay, so as the builder, can I ask, like, if I'm an agent and I have a buyer that's interested in a lot, is it you and me and the buyer that's going through all of these considerations, or is there another like outside counsel that you bring in to help, you know, look at all the different elements that you just explained?
Well, generally, you know, since I am so small, I do it myself. It's what I absolutely love to do. I love to get out and stomp around through the brush and take shots and elevation shots. It's fun. Lets me be a little bit of a kid again. But you just had on the screen a little simplified formula, something that the realtors can just kind of keep in the back of their mind. If we can pop that up, I'll go through it real quick. Now this is, as I said, it's very simplified, but just to show you the effect that a little bit of topography has on a slab. This house that we're looking at here in this little slide, it's an average size home. It's a 5,000 square foot slab. So you've got, you know, 1,000 on your garage and 500 on your patios and porches. So it's a 3,500 square foot living area home. It is basically 2 foot high across the front, which is pretty standard, and it's 5.5 foot high in the back. So nothing outrageous. You looked at the lot originally, man, that's pretty flat. That's awesome. But as my costs go, the way my slab company works is 24 inches high. And I don't want to get too technical, but 24 inches high is standard. So anything over 24 inches is 15 cents per inch times the square footage of the house. So this 5,000 square foot house, let's assume, once again, it's 2 foot across the front and it's 5.5 foot high in the back. If you average all that out, 5,000 square feet times 15 cents times 20 inches is $15,000 of just pure cost. There's no profit. That is just pure cost. So every inch that slab is over 24 inches high, by averaging the 4 corners, is $750 of cost. Okay. You know, if it's taller than that, and this is for a moderately high house, if you get into something that's 15 or 20 foot tall, which is not uncommon in the hill country, that formula goes out the window, because there's a lot of other considerations that have to be taken into account.
Well, thank you for that great explanation. And on that note, Mike, let me ask you, once the land is kind of surveyed and cleared, what comes next? Can you help me understand some of the cost in the slabs?
Well, just as Alan was saying, the slab, and that's the largest portion, but in today's world, a lot of people, and we all want pools. You look at a lot too, and there's a lot of difference if the lot slopes up or the lot slopes down. If it's sloping up, many times we'll have to do a cut, and with that cut, then you have to get rid of the material. Sometimes you can use on the lot, other times we have to haul it, and that can be a really big number. If we're going downhill the same way, we have to worry about maybe retaining walls that would become part of landscape, but also they work to, let's say a house, the slab on the front of the house is fairly flat and the lot slopes down, and say you've got a 10-foot slope and the driveway is coming on the side entry. The back of that driveway may be 6 or 7 feet out of the ground. So we have to do turn down beams on the concrete, more steel, more concrete, and the turn down beams actually can be as high or more expensive than the actual driveway itself. Something that we deal with quite often. Then you have to put curbs on them, sometimes rails, so that if somebody happened to almost drive off, or somebody walking, it's too high off the ground next to the driveway and get out of the car. The pools are we all like in San Antonio have pools, and a lot of them close to the house and up at patio level. And let's say that we have a 10-foot slope or fall at the back of the house. Pools can go up, it just really varies, but your water depth typically on most pools today is somewhere around 4 to 6 feet. So in doing that, if we have 10 feet, you have to build that back up, and it's basically like building a false bottom or a second pool. So a severe slope can make a swimming pool go up a third to half again as much money as if we're on a fairly flat lot. So
Okay.
a lot of different things come into play. Again, too, one thing I think that's really with a slope lot, and you got to watch for the slab cost, all of those. If you have, as Alan said, young children, you're going to want someplace as a flat play area, maybe for play set or what have you. So again, it comes back into landscaping, building large boulder retaining walls, backfilling, and then having stairs and handrails that go down to that area. So it's a somewhat of a usable backyard. Miralomas is a beautiful area. We're lucky out there because most of the lots right now are ridgetop lots. So predominantly, at least half the slab is pretty flat. Some of them, they do really fall off at the back, but the ridge tops are a little easier than just some of what Alan is saying, the hill country lots that are just on the side of a hill.
Awesome. That's super helpful. And I'm imagining that, you know, as a consumer, we go to look at the end product first, right? We can see the house we want. We know what kind of a kitchen, but what you guys are saying is it really starts, a lot of the costs are baked into the land, and a lot of the costs are baked into the foundation, which isn't the pretty that the consumer sees, but it's what they need to understand really drives the cost when it comes to building custom home. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And what I always say, and I'm sure Trey and Alan will agree, is I'll tell realtors all the time, before you buy that piece of property or let the client buy it, get with one of us to walk it, look at it. You know, we'll see some hidden things that they typically will not. And I don't mind walking lots, and we may find one that's, you know, it looks worse, but it's really not. And some that look good, they have real issues. So, and it could be not just the slope and the slab cost, but it could be utilities, etc.
I love it. Well, that's so, I mean, that's great advice for our audience, right? We might think that we know what piece of land we want, but you guys come in and see it through a totally different lens. And so how great of advice to know that we should call you in before we go and advise our clients on that kind of a purchase. Well, Trey, you are back just in time. I wasn't sweating it at all. But like I said, once you've got the lot picked out and the slab and the foundation, then it comes to what I call the fun stuff. Fun stuff being options. So what can you tell us about kind of going through the design process with an architect? What should we be mindful of as we go about making those kinds of selections?
Yeah, sorry to leave y'all. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. So did y'all, while I was gone, did y'all cover kind of some of those other site costs as they relate to pool and landscaping and things like that? Yeah,
We did.
awesome. Very good. And yeah, just to tag on to what Mike was saying, I mean, that usually my first contact with a realtor is on a lot walk, and we are happy to go out and do a lot walk and figure out, is it the right place to build? Is it a good value, et cetera? So please call us for that, for those lot evaluations. But yeah, once you get onto the actual building aspect of it, you're gonna want to start a design, start a concept on that property. And most people generally like to have some kind of budgeted targeted budget that they want to work towards. So I think it's really important to establish that budget right out of the gate before you really even start, and just be, let's come up with a number that is feasible and workable, and let's specify it. Let's specify, what's going to go into the house. Let's look at the floor plan, the sizing, all of that stuff, so that we can create a price model that will keep you on track with your budget. So that, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of little decision points, and each one of those, costs money. So it's real easy to ratchet up ratchet down, a few $1,000s here, a few $1,000s there on each line item can be very, cumulative effect of that can be big numbers.
Where do you advise your clients to scale up or spin back on? Like, where's a good investment when it comes to options?
So much of what we do is custom build, so it's very, client driven. We will counsel them, as to like, we would like to know, where you're building, and just to kind of remind them that price points in this area are such and such, and these types of items are going to be, these types of selections are going to be commensurate with, the price range that's common in this area. It just, we're there to be a counselor, serve the client along the way.
Okay, wonderful. Mike, Alan, any other thoughts to that when it comes to options and how that affects the cost of building custom?
One thing we do quite often is they'll think they know what they want, but just to kind of verify, we'll have them spend an hour or two with our interior design team at Holloway Interiors. And once they've spent a little time, then my designers can get back and say, hey, I really think they're in a $4 or $5 foot tile type product versus $3, and they'll cover a lot of things real quickly that way. And it gives me a little better idea of how price point, where we're going to be for what they're going to expect on the final project. Okay,
let me ask you a question that came in from Patricia Parker. She asks, it's regarding the cost of pools. Her question is, doesn't the excavation of a pool cost more on a flat lot than a pool built on a sloped lot where you have to have a retaining wall? Can you touch on that?
Actually, no, it does not. The digging is expensive, but it's not near as much as building a pad on a slope lot and building the retaining wall. And the other thing is, swimming pool is the only thing odd in building that if it's square, it costs, or rectangular, it costs more money than freeform. And so if you're up out of the ground at the back of the house, typically it's either going to be a long rectangular pool or one's going straight out, or maybe it has a curved back wall, but it's a lot more expensive to build a big retaining wall and the pad than it is to dig the hole.
Awesome. And I'm going to get to, we've got 2 or 3 other Q&As that have come in now that I think let's get those answered before we go into our break where we get to hear from Pam and Miralomas. So let me ask you, Trey. Susie asks, where do clients get the floor plan? Is there a fee for the floor plan?
Yeah, so the majority of our work is kind of start from scratch. Now, that being said, we may take ideas from other projects that we've done. We may take ideas from our model home. Ideally, you're able to find you get your unique lot and you want to build or design and take advantage of those attributes of that lot and optimize it. So we can pretty quickly do a conceptual sketch on that property that would, based on the client's input. And oftentimes that's where we're doing some of our initial pricing from. So
when you say we, are you meaning you and the architects? Because we have a couple questions coming in about the architects. So I kind of want to dig into that a little bit. Like when you say we, is that you as the builder? Oh, did Trey freeze? That's okay. That's okay, Trey. That's why we got Alan and Mike here, right? It's a panel, right? We've got backups here. So I'll ask either of you. So let me ask you, Alan. Patty asks, is there an average cost for architects?
There are designers and there are architects. A designer is typically less money than an architect, but a designer typically doesn't pay as much attention to the detail as an architect. Much like Trey, if I can get ideas from some of my existing homes and send them to my architect, that helps hold the price down quite a bit. We can certainly go from scratch, but that's going to run anywhere from $1.50 to $3 a square foot. It can be quite expensive.
Okay. Mike, Nicole asked a question, and this is a great one too. She asks, so would the best practice be to find a builder before the land, or what would your advice be in terms of if I'm an agent and I have a buyer, what's the best way? Do I, go find the builder before the land, or find the land and then try to find the builder?
Well, I think it's good to be driving and get a general idea of where you want to be and what type of neighborhood you want to be in. But I think it's good to set and meet, and basically you're interviewing the builder to see how your personalities click or don't, and the style and type of things they do, and how informative we are to them, and a feel-good type of thing. And once you do that, I think it's a lot easier actually answering the question. That will help you to choose a builder that's going to help you choose the right lot, the right neighborhood, and design the product that you're looking for.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, and I just want to echo what Carl Mayer said in the chat, which is thank y'all for the explanation of the foundation costs. It's a good talking point when I'm discussing with clients. So again, that's really what this program is for, and what Platinum Top 50 is here for, to make meaningful connections, open up dialogue among parties that work together. Because the more that we understand how each other work, the better we can serve our clients. So thanks for that comment, Carl. Okay, well, this is kind of right on time. We're right at about 10:30, halfway through our program. And as you've already heard Miralomas mentioned a couple of times throughout, all three of these builders are builders in Miralomas, which is why we reached out to them to be a part of this panel. And so representing Miralomas is Pam Hodges. Pam, are you there to join me and tell us about this beautiful community in Bernie where we can go and find these wonderful custom home builders?
Just listening to our custom home builders, you see why they are premier. With all of the experience, we are very fortunate to have them in Miralomas. We do have a preferred builders group, and these builders are taking advantage of the beautiful, beautiful views that we have in Miralomas. I tell you, it's in real estate, it's location, location, location. And in Miralomas, it's views, views, views. And their houses that they have built for us have taken advantage of those views in ways that are extremely creative, and makes a beautiful home that you want to live in, that you want to have it as your forever home. Also, I have to say that Miralomas, with the location, it's just outside of the Bernie city limits. So we have all of the advantages of the culture and the restaurants and the stores, everything that the events that happen in Bernie, everything that community offers is part of our community as well. So we have strong connections with the city of Bernie. So easy to get to, it's just minutes to Interstate 10. So you go to Bernie, you go to San Antonio, you can go up farther into the hill country. It's just beautiful, but you don't have to leave because we also have amenities that are already built at Miralomas. We have a resort type pool, clubhouse. We have a children's play area, outdoor theater, and of course, miles of trails that we're just very, very proud of. As the property builds out, if we could go ahead and have the map of Miralomas, the rendering that we have, we're presenting a new look to Miralomas. So you can see at the top of the screen, there is Lake Oz. That's a 40-acre spring-fed lake that will complement our walking trails, obviously, and that's future development. But we're certainly very proud of that. As you can see, all of the lots that are being built on now overlook valleys, ravines. The walking trails are within those. The wildlife, the amount of trees, it's indescribably beautiful. The access to 46 obviously makes it easy access to San Antonio and Bernie, but when you're on this property, you feel as though you're miles away. It's just we're environmentally conscious also. So we've got almost a 50% open space within Miralomas, so that we will have those trees, those trails, the wildlife and exceptional cover trees and plants of the native hill country. It's just, I can't say enough about it. We also have developed to preserve all of that. We've developed a nonprofit, the Friends of the Preserve at Miralomas, so that we can continue to maintain, we can offer educational environment along with the natural environment. So it's obviously, I love this development.
It sounds like the attention to detail in the development matches the attention to detail in the custom homes that are being built out there. And you're right, what a great location, so close to Bernie, and love the addition of Lake Oz and walking trails. So wonderful. We'll be sure that all of our attendees will email you that map and other information on Miralomas so you have the full scope of the development. So thank you so much, Pam, for that wonderful overview. All right, well, we're rocking and rolling. We've still got a lot of great stuff to cover. And again, keep those questions coming. That was a great kind of first round. And now we're going to shift gears and go into some other of the costs that come up. So Trey, let me ask you, what can you tell me about HVAC selections? Like, to me, that doesn't seem like something that would up the cost quite so much, but sounds like it does. So I would love your insights on that.
Yeah, it used to be one of those things that was very, it used to be fairly standard 10 years ago. And of course, with everything, there's just more options, more energy efficient equipment available now. And a lot of clients are starting to select the more expensive equipment, higher SEER ratings, variable capacity units, added dehumidifiers. And what's interesting is that that's just kind of one of those under the hood type items that most people don't, when you're on a resale or just walking through a house, you're not, you just don't see it for the most part. But it can contribute, a price point of a $1 million house. You could have a $30,000 swing on the air conditioning system. So, there's several dollars a square foot that may be there. So I think it's just recognizing that, there are different options now, that it's not, everything's not created equal. And just understanding that, there is, there's value or an option there that, you need to be able to realize and explain to a future buyer or future client that's, it's an option these days.
So what does a $30,000 swing on an AC unit, for example, what bells and whistles come with that kind of an upcharge or upgrade?
So that's probably like, if you've got 3 units in your house and you go from kind of the lower tier 15 SEER unit up to a 21 SEER, it's a variable capacity unit. So it's able to ramp up and ramp down, but you get the extra energy efficiency, so that's a plus. But it's also able to more effectively heat and cool. You're able to kind of maybe take care of some of those hot spots. If you've got a west-facing room that needs a little bit more air, it's easier to deal with some of those problems. It's a quieter system, so there's some benefits there that are unrelated to energy efficiency, but a lot of people are interested in having. The dehumidifiers, those are $2,500 a piece. So you throw 3 of those on, it just, it starts to add up.
Awesome. Thank you. I would not have assumed that, which is great to know that going in. Again, and I know agents say this all the time, the more they know, the more they can educate their clients, the better, the smoother the expectations are set out at front, just makes for a better experience, which is what everyone's going for. So that's great. So Mike, would love to kind of get your opinion. Help me understand, help our audience understand from your point of view, what makes a custom home $250 to $300 a square foot? Like what is that makes it at that price point?
I think most of all, it's details, fit and finish. As Trey said, in the construction phase, the things that you enjoy but maybe you don't touch and feel, more difficult framework, higher ceilings, more volume, the insulation package that goes in the house, the heat AC package that goes in, the quantity of electric and wiring that you do in the house. We do, it seems anymore, there's quite a bit of money spent on average with your technical wiring and lighting control systems. If we're in the hill country or we're up pretty high in a property, we do a lot of lightning arrestor systems on homes, and they get pretty pricey. Then you get into the finish work of quartz countertops and more expensive, larger format tiles, custom paint work that's done in certain rooms in the house, windows, window sizes, budded glass, the film that we put on the budded glass to give the coefficient as similar to a double pane insulated window as possible. We do a lot of outdoor. San Antonio, our second living area, really is outdoors. So when we'll build say a 3,800 foot house, we may have a 500 to 900 square foot covered patio. That patio cost is about 75 cents on the dollar typically of what the living space is, because we have the televisions, we have speakers, we have fireplaces, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, finished floor, just like the inside of the house. A lot of times the tile will run and just continue out. We do outside heaters, drop down screens that will, phantom screens that may be up to 40 feet long. So the dollars in the overall structure, the house is one of them, but our outdoor entertaining areas end up being a very expensive line item on the house.
Well, and that makes sense. I mean, a home of that size or with that amount of detail and architecture, and it has to have that finished touch, which is the outdoor, or there's just really no resale for it. And it's the finesse and the, you know, that's the bow on the package, so to speak, that, you know, is a part, needs to be a part of every custom home and one that you build. So that's great insight. Alan, when it comes to some of the more expensive features, Mike mentioned windows earlier. What can you tell us about, you know, wood windows or recessed windows and how windows affect the pricing?
Well, windows are, there's a plethora that you can choose. You know, some of the things that the windows, as an example, if you walk through the home, you know, go, okay, that's a nice window. But unless someone can demo it and tell you why, you know, a wood window is 3 times more than this vinyl clad window, they're very tricky. There's a lot of everything that everyone has talked about is absolutely true. And there is just a lot of costs that are hidden. You can't see it. It isn't necessarily the quartzite that Mike mentioned, which that's very visual. The windows are not as visible. The doors are not as visible. The trim that you use may or may not be as visible. The quality of the work, you know, all of that. I think, you know, one of the, in my opinion, the what makes a custom home more than a volume production or even a semi custom, it's the flexibility that the clients are looking for. You know, what we can do versus what some of the people can't do. And let's face it, these folks are looking for their choices. They know what they want, or at least they know they want to run their ideas by someone. So we offer them the choice. And then, as Mike alluded to, the quality. You know, we pay more for the framers. We pay more for the painters than the volume guys. So, you know, the flexibility, the choice, and the quality that we offer is just a little different. And all of that costs money.
You kind of laughed when I asked you about windows. And I just know from kind of our prep calls to get ready for this program that all three of you, you know, unanimously agreed that buyers underestimate, don't fully understand the cost of windows and how different window types affect the pricing. Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
Absolutely. The windows are tremendous. Let's say a home in Miralomas that we build might have a window package that is $9,000. We could do the same house and spend $30,000 on windows. But then the big cost that a lot of us are seeing is we all want these huge slide back pocket doors in glass up to 40 plus feet long. and that one door unit may be 2 times or 3 times what our whole window package is. So those things are what skew the number and drive the price per foot that some people are really conscious about or worry about. Or how did we get to $300 a foot? Well, we've got a $35,000 door, and we've got now $30,000 worth of windows instead of $9,000 of windows. And those things really add up in a hurry. And there's a tremendous amount of windows are really one of our biggest gains or losses of utilities through heat and air conditioning and what have you. So good quality windows are very important. But there is a point where some of it is design and style of what you want, and dollars go with that. Doesn't mean they're going to be that much more efficient or better for you.
Perfect. Let me take an opportunity to get to a few questions that have come in through the Q&A. Again, to our audience, you can certainly use the chat feature to send questions, but it helps me stay organized with the Q&A one too. But either way, I'll find you. Just a reminder, and I love that we're getting so many questions. This is the kind of dialogue that you can have in this online format, and I love to see that we're using that. So Trey, let me ask you a question that came in from Mark. Mark asks, is there a general price per square foot on electric, plumbing, etc.? I know there's a lot of variation in what's put in, but is there a general number that can be used?
Well, I mean, I guess we're talking about plumbing fixtures and lighting fixtures. Is that probably what we're asking?
I think it was more like the electric, plumbing, like the actual like mechanical part is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, the electrical is going to be, $5 to $7 a square foot generally. The plumbing is probably, that similar category, maybe closer to 5. I'll take that back, probably closer to 7. So.
Okay, that's awesome. And that just helps our agents too. I mean, some of them might think it's 4, some of them might think it's 10. So even just to have some sort of ballpark frame of reference is super helpful. Mike, let me ask, so Joe wrote in and said, aside from the slab and the pool, what's the next highest cost area in a custom home?
It really depends whether, if I'm doing a real contemporary modern home, it could be a lot of structural steel in the framing. It could be masonry, depending upon how much stone we're using. Incrementally, I think there's a number of things that are about equal that build up to that price. But those are a couple things that can really change a number. Again, there are things that are inside the wall you don't see, like the structural steel. We did a house in the Dominion 3 years ago. There was $160,000 in structural steel in the house. And it's more than I did in this office building. And so those things they're hard to quantify when you're just looking at a home, but to create things, sometimes it costs that kind of money.
Well, to your point too, it's called custom for a reason, which is why I can totally appreciate why it's hard to give generalizations or ballparks, because everything is different. Everything is custom. And so I can certainly understand where that may feel like a loaded question, but appreciate y'all's, insights on helping us understand that.
Can I add to that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because we get that question quite a bit. What are the big cost drivers in the house? And obviously, foundation, framing, frame lumber. Those are big ticket numbers. But generally, it's if people are trying to move the needle, it's probably a bad phrase, but we always say death by 1,000 cuts, because it is if you want to move budget move your budget up or down. Typically, they're trying to go down. It's really let's figure out how to get 10% off of a whole bunch of line items. Let's get 5,000 out here, 5,000 out here, 5,000 out there, and that's where you cumulatively will make up some ground. There's not really like one thing that you can just eliminate, and it's all of a sudden gonna bring the price down $50 a square foot.
I understand that. It makes me think of my husband has often said, I have a champagne taste and a beer budget, right? So I imagine you guys are always trying to finesse that with your clients, and helping them kind of scale back to something a little bit more in line with the original budget they had intended for. So that's great. Alan, let me ask, Camille asks, what percentage of the overall budget should kind of be allotted to the land? Do you have a general idea?
Generally speaking, if it gets over 20%, I start getting a little nervous.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. Great question too.
Can I tag on one more thing?
Yes, yes.
We were talking about the selections and et cetera, and Trey was talking about, taking 5,000 off here and there, which is a great point. One thing that everyone needs to keep in mind, we all fight in this business appraisals. And, speaking from someone who is refinancing my house right now, I had an appraisal done last week, and the appraiser's walking through, and I'm telling him, oh, well, I did this, I built my home, I did this, I did that. And he's looking at me like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. So there are things that money is being spent that will get absolutely no value from an appraiser. So I generally try to counsel my clients on that as well. A level 1 granite is the same as from an appraisal standpoint as a level 5, yet there can be significant price differences.
No, I appreciate you bringing up appraisal, and I'm sure we'll have some questions about it. In fact, on Wednesday with Security Service, we did an appraisal and lending panel, and absolutely, the advice on being upfront with your clients with new construction so that it comes in at value from the beginning is important, and a conversation agents definitely want to be having with their clients as well. So that's great. Mike, can I ask you? Let's see. What can you tell me about, detailing, right? You used the word detail earlier, which I wrote down. So, for example, does like a modern home cost as much as a farmhouse?
Typically, a real modern home is going to run 10 to 20% more than a conventional roof framed or a farmhouse. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, the structural part. There's more spans, longer spans. Heat and air conditioning is more expensive. There's no attic. Most of it's, ceiling to the roof. So a lot of it, we're doing different types of mini split systems, whether they're with a unit on the wall or a cassette. Just quite a bit of difference in the two. The modern home is very popular right now, but they are pricey. I can't hear you.
What is it that makes it? Is it like the way that the lines and angles, kind of come together, or is it more material?
It's all the above. And for example, on a modern home, most of them you can't see. There's a slight slope, flat roof, inside parapet walls. So we're adding square footage of frame, we're adding square footage of stucco, we're adding a more expensive type of roofing material, scuppers. There's just quite a few different elements that make it a little more difficult. Definitely more difficult to build as well. It's anytime you build flat roofs and parapet walls, there are issues that you have to really work with to prevent future water problems or penetrations. And I'm trying to think what else would be again, the lack of having attic space is a tremendous issue. So to do that, to create heights, where a lot of times we've built the height within the attic space, we're building taller houses or taller rooms, 12-foot plate, 14-foot plate, just pure house. So exterior walls are taller as well. So we're adding cost in a lot of different materials.
Okay, no, that's really helpful. Awesome, and we've got a few more Q&As to get through, so this is timing out to be just perfect. Alan, Patricia typed in to ask, with all of the new smart technology and wireless systems like speakers, has that changed the way that infrastructure is? Has that changed the infrastructure of the home? I'm not sure what she means by infrastructure.
Well, I'm going to assume we're talking the wiring, et cetera. I mean, there are certainly different systems that have different requirements. So if someone, a client has expressed that the desire to have a smart home, I'm old enough and smart enough to know what I don't know. So I immediately get them in touch with my low voltage contractor, and they design the system. And then my low voltage contractor will tell me what he needs in order to make that work, whether it's Wi-Fi boosters or, once again, it can be a lot of different things. So I certainly rely on the professionals to tell me how to make that.
She asked if they're still wired the same.
Yes and no. I mean, once again, everything can be a little different, but if you have the professional that understands it and tells you what you need to do, then, we just comply with that. And so far we've had very good luck.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much. Mike, can you talk to us about insulation? And I don't have much to go on other than James Smith said, what about insulation? Which I love. So as simply as it is, what can you tell us about that?
Sure. The base insulation that we all are accustomed to is, say, a fiberglass, Owens Corning, some type of material like that. It's a good insulation product. In San Antonio, we concentrate on cooling for sure more than heating. So what we started going to in 2005 was the very first. We went to a lot of foam insulation. At that time, we did all foam. We did the attic and the walls themselves. And that's a open cell foam that is a great insulator. Well, since then, we've come up and I've been to a couple other installation classes in schools, and we now use, most of the time, we'll do foam in the attic and bibs in the wall. And the bibs is a higher R value and a higher insulating rate than the foam in the walls. Nothing really that we have found beats the foam in the attic, but we'll still polyseal all the windows, top and bottom plates, the windows, doors, anything that's exterior penetration first. And we typically use bibs in the wall and foam in the ceiling or the attic.
Okay, thank you so much. Trey, when it comes to costs, Nora asked if we're having an increases in pricing due to COVID-19 since materials are coming from China.
Yeah, there have been, specifically our cabinet company has called us and said that some of the veneers that they typically import out of China will have price increases on them. So that's definitely one thing. We've also, there's other, southern yellow pine, which is, one of the primary framing lumber that we use. The mills are shut down, and prices for southern yellow pine are up like 35% right now. So yeah, COVID, it's affected some things for sure.
That's wonderful. Not wonderful, but it's so great that you can share that. So again, agents know how to set expectations with their client since COVID has changed all of our professions. I appreciate the insight from your end. All right, last question going to Mike. So Susie asks, when you walk a lot with a client, not a lot, but a single lot, when you walk a lot with a client, are you able at that time to give them an idea on the price of build? She says sometimes clients think they can build custom for a much lower price.
Yeah, we get that quite often. And when we walk that lot, I'm not going to be able to give them a price, but let's say I can say this lot has some fall to it. It looks to me to be 6, 8, 10 feet, what have you. These are some of the issues we're going to deal with. There's using formulas similar to what Alan put up. You can give them, this lot is going to cost you approximately this much more to build that size house on, as far as the slab goes, driveway, that type of thing. As far as total budget or price, walking a lot, finding that lot, having the value in the lot is a starting point for us to, as Trey was mentioning, we really need to know what their budget is as close as possible so that we can kind of back into, as Alan says, 20% or less. And I like to try to keep less than that on the lot cost. How much the lot cost is, what we think the foundation is going to run because of the slope or drainage or whatever we have. And then we can kind of calculate the rest of it pretty quickly.
Okay, great. So let me end by asking each of you with regards to Miralomas, how would someone get in touch with you for information? Is there on-site? Do you have models? If you can just kind of tell our audience what that would look like. Let's start with Alan, Mike, Trey.
Well, we have a builder package, I believe, that is going to go out to everyone. I don't have a model on site, but they're welcome to call my Cindy Bond, who is my realtor, or call my office, and I can meet, anyone out there anytime. I'd love to get to know them and just walk around and talk about the lots. It's what I like doing.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Mike, what about you?
Presently, we don't have a model there either. We have several houses under construction. Everything we have is listed in our MLS, and Ramon Cottle is our on-site salesperson. Easy to contact. If not, you can contact me directly. We've got a sheet that's going out, I believe, today that's got all the contact information for the agents to get a hold of anybody in our company.
Okay, great. And Trey?
Yeah, we have Jenny Briggs here at our office that handles most of the calls there. People can call myself. We typically would, just meet a client out there at the at Miralomas and go take a look at the lots. I do have Judy King with Phyllis Browning purchased our parade home, and she is out there quite a bit and very available to show her house and or lots in that area. So still a lot of beautiful lots available out there.
I love it. Well, thank y'all so much. I have been to Miralomas as well. I love the amenity. It's got a super modern, great feel in the hill country, in Bernie. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. So with that, thank you to all three of our builders. Thank you to Security Service Title Company for putting this together and their partnership with Miralomas. Thank you to our audience, who y'all were awesome. So many great questions. And I appreciate the kind words that are coming in on the chat, thanking us and our builders for the info. We put that together with a lot of thought behind it. The idea being, how can we help give agents information that's meaningful and valuable to them? And I think we certainly hit that mark this morning. So with that being said, happy Friday, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today and the rest of your weekend. And we look forward to just continuing to bring you great information and great connections through this online live format that we've adopted since going online due to COVID. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Built on integrity and dedication to service, Security Service Title Company is committed to constructing sound relationships with real estate professionals and their valued clients. Our foundation and backing includes extensive knowledge and commitment to the San Antonio area and beyond. Our team delivers an exceptional residential and commercial title experience, including dynamic relationships with the nation's leading underwriters. We navigate the buying and selling experience, allowing real estate professionals to focus on growing their client base. Our full-service residential and commercial team is capable of handling transactions of any size with a satisfaction rate of 97%. Security Service Title Company is highly recommended by real estate professionals and their clients. We want to partner with you. Security Service Title Company is ready to serve you. Find out more at sstc.org.